Yeah, look at this, embracing tomorrow, how AI and automation are reshaping humanity's path. So today we're going to do a walkthrough. I want to give you the maximum value in the shortest amount of time. And you will find all the blueprints, all the prompts, everything in the description. Let's look at the first module. So the first module, I actually set up a topic randomizer, which I invite you to change to your specific topics, right? The idea is that you have certain core topics that you want your blog to rank for, and therefore you insert them here, and randomly the automation will choose one and write a blog article about it. Second step, I tailor the CTA at the end of the blog specifically to the services I offer. So in this part, we're including information about the company. Now let me introduce you to SERP API. This is one of the most powerful APIs you can know because it's from Google search. I mean, look at what you can scrape here. The data, the amount of data you can get here is limitless. And so I already built the API call into the automation. It's ready to use. The only thing you will need is an API key. To get the API key, you will just go to SERP API, log in, and then on the top left, you see directly API key, and you can copy paste it. So what are we doing with SERP API? These two modules, actually based on the topic that the randomizer chose, will pull up the most relevant, the most searched questions in Google. And it's very simple. It's one API call. You see the link here. You just have to insert the variable, and then everything will run on its own. And here we're actually getting, based on the token, as there will be multiple questions, some more questions so that we have a few relevant questions for our blog. Now let's go into the ChatGPT modules. As you see, I split it into two routes because it's a best practice I follow. I don't like to concatenate too many items into one route. At the same time, you will see that I'm using different models for different tasks. This is really an agentic setup for ChatGPT because we're not asking one module to do everything. We split it actually into 5. As you will see, one route is the main content creation and the second round is content review. So that's how I like to think about routes. So I like one route to do one complete complex task and then pass it to the next route. Okay, so how does this work? I won't go into each module in very much detail. You will find everything in the blueprint, but I want you to understand conceptually what we're doing here. So the first module is actually just creating the title. Why? Because the title obviously is very important and we just want to have a first reference point. Then we have an introduction. This module really just creates the introduction. And now it gets interesting because now we're building the actual article body. And this is a little bit more complex because we have a user prompt, which just inputs the selected topic. But then we have actually a user prompt, an additional one, with all the 5 top questions that we pulled out of Google, which is great, right? Think about it. We're writing an article that reflects the top 5 questions about the topic. So what I'm doing here is I'm just creating a variable that I can then get into the other route because you're not able to access the content you developed in one route from the other route if you don't pass it, if you don't make to pass it as variable. Now what are we doing? The last 2 modules are one review module, and this is really where the agentic workflow comes into play, right? First, we create content, and each module is specialized on one specific part of content. Then we review the content, and then we even format it nicely as HTML so that the final article really looks great. And so if you look at the review model, it's very different than the ones before. Here, we're really talking about the AIDA framework, and we're asking ChatGPT to review, not to rewrite, but just to slightly adjust, right? So we're saying your task is to take the article and make slight improvements where you deem necessary. For example, make sure that it uses engaging language targeted as millennials. And also make sure to have a CTA at the end that smoothly transitions from the blog article to the services provided by your member, the company. And then we just reformat as HTML and bam, we have our final article. Yeah, look at this, embracing tomorrow, how AI and automation are reshaping humanity's path.